So today's special feature, every special feature that I share every week is never a question, but it's always some kind of theme that just keeps popping up for me in my conversations with people over the course of the week. I talk to a lot of people every week. I talk with my team, I talk with clients, I talk with prospective clients, I speak with other accountants, CFOs, tax practitioners, bookkeepers across the United States and internationally. And something always comes up as a recurring theme. It's kind of weird, but that's how things go. And the theme that kept popping up for me this past week is just like this one word. Nobody ever said this word, but that's how this idea just kept popping up for me. And that word is Parsec. And a parsec is a word used in astronomy and in astrophysics that, so you have like an angle, right? And if something moves, like let's say the whole world around you, like everything you see right now is a circle. And you can be looking into space and consider like the circle around planet Earth or the just whatever it is that you're considering around you as a circle. And there are 360 degrees in a circle. So 1 arc second in this circle, if something moves 1 arc second and there's 1 astronomical unit between you and the actual object, parsec is that distance that the object is actually appears to be moving in parallax as it looks to you from your point of view to only be moving 1 arc second, right? So here's what I'm talking about. Something really close to you moves this much, but if that object in reality is 1 astronomical unit away, an astronomical unit is the distance between the Earth and the Sun. So if that object in reality is 1 astronomical unit away, it's not moving 1 arc second. In reality, it's moving like this huge distance. And that distance, that whole phenomenon, that distance is called a parsec. And it comes from a word for par is part of a word and sec is part of it. Sec is part of arc second and par is part of parallax. That's where par comes from the word parallax. So here's my point. There are 3 elements in play here. There's what appears to you as a tiny shift. What appears to you, just from your perspective, it looks like it's just a tiny shift. But because there's such a huge distance between you and it looks like a tiny movement, but in reality, it's huge. It's huge. You just don't know how huge it is because you're so far away from it. And to you, it looks so small. And I want you to take on the power of a parsec by considering what's going on in your organization, the way that you're running it, the lives that you're impacting. What's going on that's huge, but because you are so far away from it in terms of acknowledging it, in terms of being connected to it, feeling connected to it, realizing the power that it has, you think it's just a tiny little movement. And if you realize the power that it actually has, that it's moving a parsec from point A to point B, even though it looks to you to be so tiny. If you liked the direction of that movement, would you do it more? Would you repeat it? Would you invite more people to it if you realize how powerful it is? A parsec in the setting of a nonprofit or an organization making a change in the world starts with recognizing your impact and moves to recognizing the gap between the impact that you're having and the impact that you could be having. I'm not telling you to give yourself more homework. I'm not telling you to make yourself busier. I'm invoking you to realize the power you are already using the difference that you're already making. I want you to get closer to that power by acknowledging it, by asking questions of the data. How many people's lives are we affecting? How much money are we moving? What are the ripple effects, and how many people are affected by these ripple effects? These observable, measurable, tangible differences that we're making. How is that showing up? How can we measure that? How do we know that? Count on your accounting team. If you are in the accounting team, let people know that you're measuring what matters. And when you bring that information to light, you're closing that distance. You're closing that astronomical unit. And therefore saying, you are making such a profound and powerful difference. Here are some numbers telling you that your organization affected 500,000 lives. You didn't know that. So you thought you had to work hard every day in order to change lives. No, you're already doing it. You're already doing it. And if you do it again and simply repeat that, right? Repeat that 1 arc second of movement. You're going to have another parsec of difference made in the world. Friends, I'm talking about nonprofit burnout. I'm talking about management burnout. I'm talking about executive burnout. It's real. And your accounting team can help you be clear about the difference that you're making in people's lives every day. Ask the questions of your data. If you don't have people, processes, and technology set up to give you the answers to those questions, get people, processes, and technology set up to give you the answers to those questions, because we're not talking about the only thing being at stake being your well-being to escape burnout or to avoid burnout. The answers to these critical questions are going to inspire more sponsors, more donors as you share the stories, more success in your talent pipeline, both for-profit and nonprofit. This is the difference that we're making in the world. And it's not that hard to rinse and repeat sometimes, like in the areas in which it's working. In the areas in which it's working, there really is a parsec difference being made, metaphorically, I should say. There's a huge difference being made for what appears to be this much. You can repeat it. If you can create financial workability in bringing aboard more people or streamlining processes to make it really the experience of an arc second, to make a parsec's worth of difference. I'm talking about the sustainability of an executive team and of a management team. I'm talking about the long-term sustainability of an organization to make a difference in the world. Consider that the only reason why you think it's a Herculean effort to do anything that is really making a difference in the areas in which your organization is already being effective is because you are not in relationship with the numbers. You're not in relationship with the number of people whose lives are being affected. And in some cases, the number of animals whose lives are being affected, the number of people benefiting from what your company does. Be present to that. Find out what's working. And create another parsec's worth of difference with only another arc second's worth of effort. For anybody willing to take that on, I acknowledge you. I acknowledge you for being open to that.